Greeting. That was weird.
Ooh, bacon.
Greetings, Tasty Morsels. This is Reverse BLT here. Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to watch the new teaser trailer that dropped for James Gunn's Superman. I'm actually really excited for this. I'm much more of a Marvel fan than a DC fan, but I did read DC comics as well growing up. And when I was younger, I think Batman was probably my favorite out of the DC heroes. Just because I thought he was dark and gritty, and I was, I guess a little bit edgy back then, so I was into that. I think, as I've gotten older, I've gotten more and more of an appreciation for just who Superman is supposed to be. Like this idea of this being with almost unlimited power who chooses to use that power to make the world a better place, who sort of like just represents this beacon of goodness and hope and all that sort of stuff. And I think, it's one of the reasons why like I really loved the old Christopher Reeves Superman movies. I actually enjoyed the Brandon Routh was a Superman Returns. I liked that. I thought it felt tonally very much like what I wanted from Superman. And then we got Zack Snyder.
Tread lightly.
Snyder's always a sort of a mixed bag. He obviously has a very good eye for shot composition, action, all that sort of stuff, and he definitely delivered some beautiful shots and some really good set pieces action wise. But I think, as many people have pointed out before me, I'm not going to turn this into some essay on Zack Snyder, but like, he didn't really understand fundamentally the character of Superman. I think that was really the big problem with those films, with the films he made. Zack Snyder's very much I think he cares. He likes superheroes more for what they are capable of physically than who they are as people. And I think that really, really came through with Superman. James Gunn, on the other hand, just thinking of some of his other work, I'm expecting to have a much firmer grasp on the emotional center of who Superman is and what has made him such an enduring, sort of iconic figure in the superhero genre for so long. Having a bad day, Soups? Oh, he's got his underoos. Definitely nailing the look of the nebbishy look of the Peter of the Clark Kent persona. Oh, is this Lois? It's good casting when you can pretty much immediately tell who you're looking at. Aw. That paw. Like someone remembers that the Kents are supposed to be old. Who was... Oh my god, no. Who is he whistling at? No.
KRYPTO.
Holy shit!
Take me home.
Holy shit! Okay, you know what? That got me right there. That got me right there. Fucking KRYPTO, man.
Superman.
Oh. The Lantern Corps is in this? I saw a Hawk Girl. Is that gonna be a Lex spot, or is that gonna be a Brainiac kind of thing? Not sure if that was supposed to be like a version of Cyborg or what. I just noticed that they were doing the like a remix of the theme the entire time.
Are you serious?
Initial impression was very strong. It was very much a I get who Superman is kind of trailer, if that makes sense. This gives us a solid look at the profile of the suit. And it's very much like it's interesting. It's very much golden age Superman, but with modern touches. Like you can see like the sort of like athletic gear kind of detailing that superhero outfits always seem to have nowadays. The boots look, functional, things like that, rather than just being like almost latex, not latex, almost spandex or something themselves. And it looks like they're using, I think it's the new 52 version of the logo, right? That is a fantastic rendition of Clark Kent, in my opinion. Uh, it's just, he, it's funny. I can't remember who said it. I want to say it was that it might have been Kevin Smith actually, who said that Clark Kent is the costume. That is that Superman is who he truly is, and that it's like it reveals how the character thinks of humanity. That he that the costume he wears to blend in with us is this you know nebbishy weakling kind of who gets pushed around by everybody, um very sort of outwardly fragile. But and I agree with that actually. That I think that it really does reveal a lot about how Superman sees humans, in general. But you know, Clark is also the side at which he is someone who pursues truth, and someone who gets by in the world with his mind. And so, if Clark is how Superman sees humanity, yeah, he may see us as fragile and needing protection, but he also clearly sees us as having a lot of potential, and that's always been something that I found interesting about the character. So we go inside. Um, Daily Planet. I mean, what's there to say? I think pretty much everybody has kind of imagined the Daily Planet in very similar ways. It's very much sort of like you're sort of like a old news kind of like back when the whole idea of the fifth estate was really taken very seriously, and so it's got a sort of an elegance and regality to it, a sense of weight and importance.
Pepperidge Farm remembers.
Good job making the planet look like this place that has all this history, but also is very modern. It looks like a hybrid of like a old timey newspaper and like a modern sort of like a broadcast news system. I wonder if they're going to do that actually, because in the modern era, the planet should have some sort of broadcast presence. Either on TV or in new media, like on the internet and stuff. But I wonder how they're going to look at that. I know a lot of people aren't interested in that kind of thing, but it is something that I find fascinating. I don't think I recognize the actress, but again, great casting because and I would say the actress has a good solid idea of who Lois is just from this one shot, because like she's got this such a like I could just imagine, like I could literally almost hear her like laying into Clark right now for being late to work or for not handling some story that he was supposed to handle. You really get the feel of like this sort of like world weary veteran reporter who doesn't take anybody's shit, like just the way she's walking and everything through this place. Even her stance, like right here, is like very much like I don't know. It's hard to really explain, but this just nails Lois for me.
That sounded dirty.
I'm wondering if Jimmy is in the shot. Like, I'm wondering if this guy in the foreground might be Jimmy, just because, why not? Why not just put him right there in the shot? Smallville looks like Smallville. it's interesting. The Kent, I don't know, the Kent's house looks I don't know. It looks newer than, like, it looks old. Like the architecture style is old, but it just looks a little too clean. That's just, I don't know. I'm not trying to nitpick the trailer yet or anything. It's just something I noticed, it just in the still that it just looked really clean for some reason. In close up shots, it looks better. It looks more like some, like a place where people actually live. I'm trying to remember, how did Pa Kent die in the comics? Was it cancer? I want to say it was cancer, right, guys? Like, and I'm assuming this is Pa Kent, and he does look, he's old. 'Cause I remember, like, when I was young, I'm pretty sure the Kents were always depicted as being quite old, because they had found him, like, I want to say they were like in their 50s or something when they found him, and we're already well past the thought of having kids and everything, which is, one of the reasons why they took him in. It's also one of the reasons why you would have expected a lot of people to have asked more questions about Clark. But hey, I like that Gunn recognizes how important his relationship with his parents is, and how defining it is for him as a character. It is pretty much the whole reason why he turned out the way he did, was because he had this really solid connection to these regular salt of the earth people who weren't going to be interested in trying to use his power for fame, or who were going to teach him, that power was designed to get you what you want. Instead, they taught him a service-minded outlook on life, and that's why he ended up being great instead of a tyrant.
What a loser.
Yeah, I gotta get that. I gotta get that shot of crypto. Oh man, see, I don't know. So Superman, one of the things I actually really did enjoy when I was reading his comics when I was young, was some of the side characters he had, which were just so much fun. Like Crypto, the super dog, was so awesome. Just like the idea of a super pet was just so great to me. And his cousin Kara was a lot of fun. I'm hoping at some point we will get a Kara Zor-El in this. I haven't finished it though. I have to go back at some point and actually finish the series. But I actually really enjoyed the Melissa Benoist take on her in Supergirl on WB, which I no, not WDB, CW, which I did not expect I would enjoy, like, because CW usually is a little too Dawson's Creek for me. Like all their super, like I was expecting basically Dawson's Creek with capes, and every now and then it did become a little bit Melrose Placey with capes, but I thought she nailed the character, like and I'm hoping that whoever Gunn casts in this will bring like a similar understanding. Um, I love how, like, he managed to make Crypto look, I don't know, like, not cheesy. Like like, it's a dog with a fucking cape, but he doesn't come off as cheesy. He just comes across as, like, as an awesome doggo, and that's great. Obviously we got a question here of, like, who the heck is Soups fighting? Someone is clearly pushing him to his limits. I did think I saw, like, a Lex bot, possibly a Lex bot, could be a Brainiac kind of thing though. So that could be what has pushed him this far. But he tried to make it home because he's already in the North Poles. I don't know if he took the fight there to begin with, or if, like, or if he was driven there. This is interesting. So the effect here, there's like a dinosaur kind of thing going on in the background, but I'm wondering if this is sort of a red herring, like if this is actually meant to be a threat that's being fought, or if this is like a prop of some kind, where at a location where something was happening, like, say, maybe like an entertainment kind of thing.
No.
We also have a bunch of balloon type stuff. We have helium canisters, looks like, and this little girl. So I'm wondering if this is actually supposed to be a parade, and maybe this is some really realistic parade float or something that collapsed. Those things actually do weigh quite a lot. Uh, or if this is a creature. Like I don't know what the plot is of this movie at all. But Superman comes in. Look, oh, I like the effect that they're using here for to show his speed. Um, we're not going quite with the idea of like or at least we're not demonstrating in this trailer his like maximum speed. So the girl, you can see the girl was still moving, for instance, even though he was coming in very, very fast. I would say at maximum speed, the effect I would probably expect to be used would be everything else freezes entirely because he's about as fast as the Flash. Not quite. The Flash at maximum use of the Speed Force is faster than anyone, but even Superman. Even though, of course, we famously usually don't get to see the results of their races. But yeah, I'm definitely enjoying the effects here. It just looks very good. Just curious as to what exactly is happening. Like who is the villain? Well, obviously Lex Luthor is the villain, but like Lex Luthor's always ultimately the villain behind everything when it comes to Superman. So we get another bit of interesting casting for Lex. Luthor Corp looks suitably like sort of like I don't know, like Luthor always is like represents like sort of like the dark possibilities of humanity's advancement, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like he's very focused on the idea of advancement, and I like the way that little shot of Lex Corp, or I'm sorry, Luthor Corp looked, where it had like a very shiny, futuristic look, but also vaguely kind of dystopian. And this is a great shot. Is this Nicholas Holt? I think this is Nicholas Holt, which is he's a great actor, so I'm looking forward to seeing what kind of energy he brings. I mean, he's the face looks like intense, like he looks like he's got that kind of like murderous intensity hiding behind. But then we get this weird sneer. I didn't notice this, and I'm wondering if he's having a conversation with someone right now where they just said something incredibly stupid to him, and he's like, right. Because I you know what, like Jesse Eisenberg was given some weird direction, I think. But I didn't entirely hate what I think they were trying to go for with that. So I wouldn't mind them bringing a little bit of that kind of like a more modernish sort of young billionaire kind of energy to it. Because all these characters do need to change a little bit with the times. It's like the idea of the old school kind of Lex Luthor. I don't think would really work as well nowadays. Wouldn't make as much sense. So I would expect to see him be a little more kind of like sort of almost like millennially sarcastic, if that makes sense, which is something he wasn't usually back then. Every now and then we definitely we get some humor though, especially at Gene Hackman's Luthor. Um, we got Superman trapped in some sort of box. Well, not trapped because I think the next shot is him punching out of this. So I don't know what this was supposed to be. Like maybe Lex had built some sort of like super strong prison and thought that he could keep Superman in it, and just discovered that that was really stupid. And this, of course, is the part of the trailer that really shows that I think that Gunn understands the point of Superman. A lot of there was an essay written that was like, oh, Superman is not Jesus. Uh, Respectfully, I disagree a little bit.
Blasphemy!
As the character has evolved, he doesn't see himself that way, which is important. But it is definitely a fact that most of the people around the world look at him as, a savior. I mean, he's literally a man in the sky who is impervious, and the world is full of shitty situations. And you would hope that if a god were to appear, and Superman would fit every definition of a god of some kind anyway, you would hope that he would see your troubles and try to do something about it. Gunn made sure to give him the classic S curl. Gotta love it. And this was one of the things that I didn't hate Zack Snyder trying to go here. I just don't think that he handled it very well. But yeah, I would expect Superman to face some level of animosity from the public, fear from the public, and to have to, address that, to have to really come to terms with, the fact that not everyone wants him around, the fact that he isn't human, the fact that some people will see him as a monster or freak or just be irrationally afraid of him, and to still make the choice to to try to save the species that, it's kind of like an X-Men thing, like fighting for a world that hates them, right? And I think Snyder just, he wasn't really emotionally, like, as a writer, like he wasn't capable of really carrying that.
How dare you mock our faith, you little punk!
We kind of yada yadaed over the why. Like we had Superman sort of choose to be Superman, but why? Like I don't think we ever really got that. And I'm hoping that Gunn does a better job of, and I'm, given his past work, I'm expecting he will, but I'm hoping he does a better job of really kind of explaining the choice, and showing that it is a choice. It's a conscious decision that Superman makes to save a world that maybe doesn't deserve it. So this is where we really start to get into some very interesting stuff, because I could swear in this shot here we got someone with a Green Lantern ring. Trying to remember who looked like this, because I do remember a Lantern who had this haircut and everything. We got some version of Hawk Girl back there, I guess, because I'm beginning to wonder if we're getting some alternate reality things going on. Oh, but he seems to be interesting. He seems to be doing something about the people outside. They may be creating a barrier of some kind so they can't get in and interfere. So maybe they're on Soup's side, which would make sense. I mean, the Lantern Corps should be on Soup's side. We got some sort of uniform happening here, because I see the Lantern Corps insignia on the guy in the lead's shoulder. The person in the background, I'm trying to see if they also have a similar uniform. Like, are they Lantern Corps? Obviously, Hawk Girl isn't. I don't see a secondary insignia on her. I like the sort of realistic but still futuristic kind of look here, and I like the fact that the lantern doesn't look like, like someone who, if he were to take his clothes off, would be like this super mega chisel, like Adonis character. He looks strong and capable, but not like weird, if that makes sense. Okay, so what's going on with the person behind him? It almost looks like an astronaut suit, or like, you know what it looks like? It looks like someone using a suit for mobility. Like it seems like they're piloting uh like an exosuit, which is interesting. I wonder what that's all about. Okay, crackpot time. I noticed that the guy behind him appears to be black.
Where are you going with this?
And like I said, it does look a little bit like an exosuit. And there was a point at some point in the trailer where I wondered if I had seen Cyborg. I'm wondering if this is an early version of Cyborg, like he's paralyzed and everything, but he's using an exosuit instead of like having full augmentation. Hawk Girl looks great. Got her mace. Okay, so there was I didn't know why I forgot about this, but yeah, so there was a giant freaking monster. So that explains the foot from earlier, and I totally forgot that I literally saw this in the trailer the first go through. Breathes fire. I have no idea what that's all about. I don't know if this in the background kind of looks like maybe some portal to another dimension or something got opened up. So I wonder if we're bringing in what was the name of the dimension? Because I doubt we're gonna introduce stuff like Darkseid and everything this early, but maybe we will introduce dimension hopping just so that we can sort of start to get into that. Looks like we're also not going to drag out Lois and Superman. being a thing. At least I'm hoping not, because why should we? Yep, looks like Clark is already with Lois. Good. I'm very interested to find out where in the story we're picking up. So that was the Fortress of Solitude, of course. Back to that. This looks like a close up of like a big old clump of crystal, which might be exactly how they did that shot. There's our very good boy taking Daddy home.
That's adorable.
That's an excellent shot of Lois and Soups together. But this looks very, very public, so it looks like we're going to not be hiding the fact that they are a couple. Man, so there were a lot of very quick shots here, so I'm gonna step through a little bit more. Okay, so here's something I was definitely curious about. So here we have. Oh, that's interesting. So in the quick cuts, you feel like Soups is fighting this mechanical man. But here it looks very much like he's comforting or consoling the mechanical person. This obviously means that this being is someone that he sees as sapient. And this is also at the Fortress of Solitude, I just noticed. And there aren't too many people who would be allowed there. So very curious here. Like, is this going to be like a case of, because there are some versions of the story, if I remember correctly, where Brainiac ends up being in the Fortress of Solitude initially in Superman, and like, that's how they initially formed their relationship. Then there are other versions, I think the more common version, where he comes from outer space, and that's when they first encounter each other. Another possibility, I'm moving away from this being a Lex bot at this point, because I don't think Lex ever programmed his robots with sentience. He definitely wouldn't see a point in doing that. So now my prevailing thought right now is that this is either somehow something related to Brainiac, and we're going to get this like dual sort of last sons of Krypton kind of thing, because in a lot of ways each of them represents a different way of looking at sort of like the last remnant of Krypton. Or this is Cyborg after fully being converted, where there's basically nothing left but Ted, and I think a few random bits and bobs here and there. But I don't know. I mean, I guess it's possible that it's just an AI construct that takes care of the fortress, and Soups is just that connected to it. That's interesting. Okay. I think this is the growing of the fortress. First, I thought the fortress was being destroyed, because going through the shot, there was a lot of like movement of the crystals and a lot of like dust being thrown about. But I think this is actually just the crystals growing. I'm not sure what's happening here. My first thought is that maybe this is a take on a White Martian, but I'm not sure. That would make sense in a way, though it would be definitely speed running towards a team up movie, which I'm always a little skeptical of, because I think that was that's been part of where DC has stumbled so far, is trying to really quickly get to their team up movies instead of building the individual characters first. But a White Martian showing up would obviously get us into some bigger picture things, without getting us necessarily into gigantic picture things. So it could bring in some other characters, such as, for instance, John Jones, and the Lantern Corps might have a reason to intervene in that as well. Yeah, I'm curious what's going on. Oh man, we got some major destruction going on as usual. Now here's the thing: I don't get just upset necessarily just because a superhero allows destruction to happen. They are still limited. They're not, they're not capable of being literally everywhere all at once, though some of them can come close, like Superman and the Flash. And when they're fairly new in their careers, they are going to make mistakes, and people are going to die who might have been savable. But in the end, it's the villains who cause the destruction. So I'm not gonna blame Soups for this until I see what the situation was. I got more annoyed with him in Man of Steel because sometimes he seemed to be causing the destruction himself. But yeah, you know, all I want is to see him attempting to avoid and mitigate damage and casualties. You know, that would tell me that he is, you know, is an actual hero. Now, this is a fantastic shot of Nicholas Hoult as Lex, full of rage, full of like the one thing that makes him hate Superman the most, like the feeling of impotence. Lex Luthor is someone who, depending on which version of the story you go with, had a childhood that filled him with a lot of impotent rage, and then managed to become this person, not completely self-made, no billionaire ever is, but like, you know, he did a lot for to, you know, to step up with what he was given. But he was given quite a lot. He was given quite a huge head start in life. But again, depending on which version, because I think there are some versions where he came from nothing. But either way, like he you know, I would expect James Gunn, as someone who loves digging into pathos, to go with the version of Lex Luthor that had a very fucked up childhood, who spent a lot of time under the heel of a powerful man who treated him like shit and made him feel very, very small, and has kind of been running from that his entire life. As he succeeds more and more, that's still in this back of his head, this feeling that someone could come along and grab him and squeeze him and make him into that little tiny boy who had no power again. And I think that's one of the really important elements of why he resents Superman so much, is that like he can't look at him and see anything but someone who has achieved so much that he will never achieve just by virtue of his birth. So, you know, didn't earn it basically. And also someone who at any moment could turn around and turn him into that small, weak, defenseless boy that he's so afraid of being, you know? That look says a lot to me. Oh, it looks like we created a country. Baravian troops amassing at border.
This is the way.
Soups is, I'm assuming, trying to lift the building back up, which is always one of those things that made me laugh when they would do it, because you can't do that. Like, I'm not talking about just like the sheer possibility of lifting that much weight. I mean, like, a building's structure would not allow you to like catch a building that almost fell over, at least not a skyscraper, and then just push it back up. It would fall apart. There's our good boy again. All right, here we have another shot of, yeah, I don't know what's going on here. This is just generic person in black. I mean, this honestly looks like this could be Black Noir for all I know. Maybe we're getting, no, he's punching through a wall. I was gonna say maybe we're getting Batman introduced a little bit early in this, but no, he's punching through like a concrete wall, so it's not Batman. And whoever he is appears to be capable of directly attacking Superman. Wait, are we gonna have other Kryptonians in this? Well, we did also see what I thought was a white Martian. So maybe, because you know the standard superhero trope is you always have heroes who are going to end up on the same side. They always have to fight first. So I don't know if this is like a Kryptonian, like, you know, like part of General Zod's faction, or if this is a Green Martian, like maybe this is John Jones fighting Superman because he won't let him fight the White Martian, or hell, for all we know, it could be the White Martian. So I thought this was Cyborg at first, but now I'm not sure, because I think, I'm trying to think who, I want to say there was another character who had like this T thing going on, but I can't think of who it was. Got like sort of drones that seem to be creating a shield around. Maybe it is Cyborg, like their version of Cyborg. I don't know who these people are around that are fighting them. See, this is what I'm saying. So it's like, you know, it's like I'm much more a Marvel fan than a DC fan, so there are definitely some cuts that are gonna go over my head here. But I think looks like he's protecting Hawkgirl, so he's clearly part of whatever this universe's Justice League is. And really, honestly, that's just a great shot of him going up into the air with Lois. He's escaping a fireball. going up into the sun, the source of his power, as we all know. And getting a nice little bit of a caress from the love of his life. I love a good love story, so I hope they don't screw that up, because that was one of my biggest annoyances. One of the biggest annoyances I had with Man of Steel was that I definitely think it established a little bit of a foundation for friendship and trust and everything between Lois and Clark, and Superman, but did not remotely establish romance between them, in my opinion. It just, there was a lot of yada yada-ing in that movie. That was a pretty good teaser. It did everything that I think it was really setting out to do, everything that it needed to do. It showed us that the movie's going to look pretty good. These are almost certainly not finished effects. Effects are usually worked on pretty much all the way up to the end, but it still looked very good. Like what they chose to show here looked pretty solid. There were a few things that I think could spend a little more time in the rendering farm, but like looked very good. Flight looked great. Combat looked great. I'm getting the things that don't truly matter out of the way first. The biggest stuff, the stuff that really did matter, was tonally. This felt like Superman. This had a very bright, hopeful vibe, even though there was a lot of destruction and everything going on. It really conveyed the idea that this person, while dealing with weight of their responsibility and the fact that not everybody wants him around, still really believes in what he's doing. He's doing it because he wants to, not because he just feels like it's not just an obligation. You know what I mean? It's a calling, as some people would say. I got like a lot of sort of like little touch points of emotion that suggested to me pretty strongly that James Gunn and the creative team that helped with this, and the actors too, understand who these characters are and where they're coming from and how they should approach this world. So yeah, I'm impressed. I'm really looking forward to what Gunn and the rest of the team deliver. I'm looking forward to seeing the vision for this new unified DC universe to unfold. And I'm looking forward to a story trailer next, because obviously teaser trailers always predate a story trailer.
Obviously.
Warner Brothers and DC have a lot of confidence in this movie. They're releasing it right around July 4th weekend. So, yeah, they clearly liked what they saw, the suits. So I'm hoping that'll translate into us liking what we see too. Anyway, guys, let me know what you thought of this trailer. Are you excited to see Supes and the DC universe get rebooted on screen? Did you feel like this made the right statements emotionally and character-wise? And where do you think we're going? And don't give, if you know where we're going for some reason, don't tell me, because I don't know. I'm gonna try to stay as in the dark as I can. I hope that people remember that post-pandemic, a lot of us have really learned how much we enjoy watching movies at home. So I hope that if this film doesn't do billions of dollars in box office, they don't think that it means that people don't like it and that it's a terrible movie. A lot of people just would really prefer to watch movies at home. It's got nothing to do with whether they want to see the film. They just want to see it at home. Anyway, like I was saying, let me know what you guys thought. And I will see you in the comments section. And do your best, as always, to stay safe and be well. And I'll see you for the next one. Birds are playing. It's reverse BLT.
You're weird.
Bye-bye.
Where is he now?
He's doing his Superman thing.